Hello, Roger.
Hi, Sandy. Hi.
Good to see you again. So I think I'll make a start because I wanted to show you guys some videos. Our speaker hasn't joined us just yet, but we'll make a start anyway. I'm just going to mute everybody. Okay, welcome everybody to this meeting of the Rotary Club of Leicester. It's the 29th of March 2021. Just going to say hello to a few guests. We have Pam Spokes with us. It's always good to have you on board, Pam. And I see that the Easter egg, I saw an email about the Easter eggs this morning, and that went very well. The collaboration between our two clubs.
Yeah, thanks very much. We were pleased to be involved.
And I have a video. Perhaps Dana, maybe you can help me. I'm not sure where this video came from. I just saw it on the Rotary website, the Facebook page. Do you know much about that video? I'll play it and then maybe you can tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, I took both the videos. So
okay.
Yeah, I took the first one with Arif, and then I took the other one when we dropped him off to Annette at the community's food hub.
So that's Annette there. Is that her?
Yeah. So she's a doctor, and this is the food hub that she set up and has been running.
Okay, wonderful. I'm just going to play the video. Perhaps give me a thumbs up if you can hear it. Okay. Oh, hang on. Let me just do that again.
Well, I'm here to say a huge thank you from everybody at the Community Food Hub. What Leicester know this and Leicester Rotary Club, by donating these, you have truly made so many of our families really happy. From the little children who will be getting these, and for the parents who may not have had that little extra to be able to provide this. Really, you've got a lot of happy smiles this Easter holiday. So we thank you so very much. And we will continue with the work of trying to meet the needs of as many of the amazingly diverse community of Leicester. And once again, thank you.
Right, did you hear that? Okay. I can't see anybody. That you've all disappeared.
It was a bit quiet, but we did hear it.
Oh, you did hear it. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll try and raise the volume on the next one. So that's the Easter egg appeal, and then I'll just show you some videos of the food bank deliveries. Well, actually, I'll come to that in a sec. Sorry, let me just say hello to all our guests. Let me just stop that for a minute. Hule, I just wanted to say hello to you as well. Great to have you on board again. And let me just finish up this section, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, do you have any greetings from other clubs?
I attended Loughborough's meeting a couple of weeks ago and bring greetings from the Rotary Club of Loughborough. They had the speaker was Chaz Bishop, who was telling us about the Space Centre, so I thought to go along. Great,
okay, thank you, David. And Richard?
Yeah, bringing greetings from Valerie Vickers, the president of Bordeaux West. Palmdeep and I had a Zoom meeting with herself and another club member who spoke good English, and Bruno, who's the past president. And so we had a very sort of, we talked to each other about our respective clubs. They're a club of 67 members, obviously, and by all accounts, the vast majority of them are working. They're in the glorious position of having relatively little COVID and actually meeting for picnics outside and things, which is it's a lucky old them. Anyway, they seem quite keen on progressing with a twinning with us. So we thought we might at some point organise a sort of joint Zoom meeting. The only question is, have we got any members of the club who can speak passable French? That's the question for everybody. Oh, Patrick, I assumed you would be Patrick. I'm assuming. Oh, and Roger, good.
And Nick.
A little bit from Nick. Yeah. So we got one or two. Mine's sort of a sort of O level, between O and A level. But anyway. So if everybody's happy with that, we'll sort of try and progress that through the course of the year. The other, for the golfers, they're having they have an annual competition in September time, and in some very swanky Bordeaux golf course. So I thought we might just be able to rustle up a little team to go over there, perhaps in the autumn if we're allowed out of the country. But we'll wait and see.
Wonderful, great efforts, Richard. So what's going to happen next then? What's the next step?
Well, the next thing is I should send them an email saying, confirming what we did. And I think the next thing will be probably some sort of joint Zoom meeting between the respective clubs, which will be fairly limited because it'll obviously be I think we ought to make some effort to communicate a little bit in French, because the French do prefer, they do like at least a bit of an effort, if nothing else. So we will do the best we can, and I've decided that my project for this year will be to try and improve my French. So that if nothing else, it would be a bit of benefit.
Okay, great, thank you. Right, so any other greetings?
I was going to say that's certainly true. But the truth, the point is, having worked a lot in France, I find that people speak absolutely superb English, but in France refuse to use it.
Yes.
Simple as that. Macron is causing a lot of anger in France because he does speak publicly in English. But it'd be quite interesting. You get people on their own; they've often got extremely good English.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to also, any other greetings that I've missed? No. Okay. Thank you to David Howard for sorting out the district grant for the sensory garden. I believe that's gone through now, or it's progressing very well. So thanks for that. Is it £1,000 we've gone for the materials? And yep, I'm getting nods from Diana. So yep, okay, wonderful. I'm just going to quickly show you some videos, because we've done all this good work with the food banks. We've raised money, we've gone out and purchased food, but there's nothing like watching a video of the food being delivered and grateful recipients. So I'm just wanted to show you some videos. Okay, you've all disappeared. I can't see you now, so hopefully you can see this okay. If you can't, please unmute and just tell me, but I'm going to try and play this one.
Thank you to Rotary for Food Banks Leicester for donating food supplies to our COVID-19 emergency service. Since March 2020, older people have found life hard, with loneliness and isolation only exacerbated by the pandemic. We have heard so many heartbreaking stories, but fortunately, we've been in a position to help numerous local older people to cope and feel supported when they've needed us most. It's been a busy time for Age UK Leicestershire and Rutland. We've delivered more than 650 food parcels, carried out over 3,000 shopping visits, and provided more than 124,000 telephone befriending calls. Without your support, this wouldn't have been possible, and we want to say thank you to our supporters for being there for us throughout this pandemic. We're here because we care, and we know you do too.
Okay, so the first section was the delivery, and that's how they appear. So this is the Midlands Lunga Searby Society. That's their delivery taking place. They sent me some photos. It was interesting actually, because they didn't order. I don't think they had a huge requirement for the food. I think they get a lot of food donated already. So it was a lot of the sort of toiletry items that you can see there, which is great really, because it's nice that Morrison have given us the ability to order the other items as well as the food. Box of Weetabix there, you can see. I think there's another video. Here we go.
This is Jill at the Cynthia Trust. This is our first delivery from the Rotary Club. We'd like to say thank you very much for thinking of us and referring us to Morrison's. The Cynthia Trust is a charity that supports disadvantaged people in Leicester and Leicestershire, and this food will go towards people in need in the Leicestershire area. Thank you very much.
We are very much grateful to Rotary for Food for supporting our food bank.
Yeah, so hopefully you all saw that okay. It's yeah, everyone thumbs up. Does that appear? Yeah. So it's just fabulous that we're able to do that. We did have one problem. Open Hands is the only one that hasn't received a delivery from us. And the reason being that their location was rejected by Morrison in terms of getting their huge articulated lorry down their street, very narrow street in Highfield. So we managed to find a solution to that. Midlands Lunga Seva Society have their own unit opposite near the Sainsbury's in Rushmead. There's the industrial area there, and they've kindly agreed to take Open Hands delivery, and then Open Hands will just meet them, the Morrison truck there, and just take away everything in a van. So we managed to find a solution for that. So they'll be receiving their first delivery very soon, and then the other food banks in about a month's time will be receiving their second donations from us to purchase more food. So great work from everybody in the club, and long may it continue. So we're making a real impact. I just wanted members to see that. Okay, we've got a flag exchange happening. Thank you to Barry for going over to the hotel and fetching. You found all sorts of things, didn't you, Barry? In there, you found a flag and other bits.
I found a huge pile of banners, flags from other clubs stuffed in a drawer, which is rather a pity. And I think they need cataloguing and celebrating, really.
Was this in the basement of the Grand?
In the basement, yes.
Yeah. There is a mountain of stuff. Nick and I sort of had a vague look at it at one point, and we were somewhat overwhelmed by it. It does need a proper sort out down there.
There's a lot less in there now than there was before I was secretary.
Oh, right.
I wondered actually when this came up before whether any member had got a simple scanner that they could actually take bundles of these and scan them, perhaps two to a screen, and then put them on the website. Because clubs send this stuff to us, and it would be nice to show the range of things. We used to have, of course, the 4 enormous great banners that we hung up in the King's Hall when we met there, which had some of those had bannerets going on back to the 50s and 60s, I think. But if there is I think if there's a volunteer who's prepared to spend a couple of hours with these and with a simple color scanner, I think you
could do that.
Do quite a lot of that.
I could do that.
There you are. So got a volunteer then. Thanks.
And I can upload them to the website if you like.
Excellent. Great to see everyone collaborating. So that will be great. I'm just wondering where our speakers. Steve hasn't joined us yet, has he? No.
I had an email at 5 to 1 to say that he joined the meeting.
Which meeting?
This one.
Yeah, well, he's not here, so perhaps would you mind, Barry, giving him a call? Maybe he's gone to the wrong link or something.
Okay, I'll.
Yeah, because it'd be good to help him actually start. We have. Is it Jay? I can see you just joined us. Maybe you want to unmute and.
Hi.
Hi, Jay.
Yeah, hi.
Tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria, but a current student at the Montfort.
Great. Okay. Excellent. Well, great to have you here.
Yeah.
You're a road tractor.
Yes, I'm a road tractor. I'm a road tractor with institution based when I was back in my country. So I was a road tractor with my university then.
Oh, wonderful. Tell us a bit about the sort of things you were involved in back in your club.
All right. My club, being institution based, we actually carry out projects. But one of the major projects I was part of was during blood donation. So we did some blood donation then at an hospital. Then We also did some alms giving, like we gave out wheelchairs to the disabled, and several others that I really can't start saying now.
That's great work. And how many people in your Rotary club?
We're a club based of like 40 to 50 students.
Very good. We've just started a Rotary club here in Leicester, and we've got about 20 members. So yeah, let's keep in touch. And
okay, no problem. That would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah, and you're at DMU, is that right?
Yes, I'm doing my master's at DMU currently.
All right. And what do you study?
Mechatronics.
Mechatronics?
Yes.
What is that? What does that involve?
It's a combination of electronics and mechanical engineering.
Oh, great.
So it's more of automatic control, robotics, and microprocessors.
It never occurred to me until I ran a little Lego robotics thing with my kids a few years ago that DMU is a real leader in robotics. I had no idea.
Yes, they are actually. So that's why I chose to come study at the Montfort.
Great. All the best with your masters.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Parmley?
Yes, Nick.
Sorry, could I just, Jay, could I just ask you if you send me your email address?
Okay.
I'll just drop my email address on the chat, and then you can communicate with me.
Okay.
I'm the membership committee chair, so I think it'd be, then at least we've got a line of communication to you, and then we can start talking about whatever we want to talk about. Okay. I think you muted yourself.
Sorry. Yeah. So I'll do.
Okay, I think we've just got Barry sorting out the speaker. Hopefully Steve will be with us shortly. Well, any committee chairman would like to share anything?
Well, before Saturday, you've been sent the wrong link by our speaker.
No,
not that, but I'd just like to say hello to Jay, who came to a Novus meeting a couple of weeks ago. Good to see you again, Jay.
Hi, Pam. It's nice to see you.
That's great. Okay. So we should have our speaker with us shortly, by the sounds of Barry's conversation.
Send it to you. Okay.
And once he's there, would anybody else like to share anything?
While we're waiting, could I ask Richard about the situation in Ethiopia, because it's been looking pretty dire the last few weeks with a lot of fighting going on.
Yeah, the feedback we've had from Gonda, and we're in pretty regular communication with them, and we've got lots of things going on from teaching education, but they're getting us a pretty steady throughput of casualties, because they're now the main trauma receiving hospital for most of the fighting now is it's in the rural areas, and it's largely sort of guerrilla stuff, and I would think there's some civilian casualties in there as well. As I think I've said before, I think it's just going to run on, because there's much ingrained tribal rivalries that have been there for decades, if not centuries, and so I mean it's like everything. When it's been a very shut down society since before Mengistu, and if you take the lid off that, which Abiy did, then I'm afraid the consequences is that the mice come out to play, which is what's happening. But I don't know. He's trying. I mean, the Eritreans apparently are going to withdraw, and they'll try and sort it. But as far as Tigray is concerned, it's probably going to be a bit of a no-go zone for a while, which is a shame, because a lot of the historic sites like Aksum are based up in Tigray, and Lalibela, which is in the Amhara region, but it's fairly close to the Tigrayan border, so that would be pretty dodgy as well, I think, for a while.
Okay. We may as well do an update on COVID, if you like, Richard, while you're on there.
Yeah, well, things are continuing to improve. The numbers in hospital are now well below 100, which is good, from a peak of over 400, and mortality is coming down as well. Those who are still sadly dying are mostly either those who've been in hospital for a long while on various forms of ICU, or alternatively, the very elderly, where the vaccine hasn't proved as effective as it might have been. But the numbers are small.
All right. Thank you, Richard. Welcome to Steve Howe, our speaker.
Good afternoon. How are you all?
We're doing well, thank you. It's great that you've managed to get in. I think was it an old link that you were clicking on?
I had a link, old or otherwise. I didn't know any different.
It was an old link.
It's okay. Right. You're here now. So I'll hand it straight over to you. So you're going to tell us about the Road to Crufts. So please.
Yes, I am. Can I share my screen, please?
I'm going to. Yep, you can do it now.
Right, very good. And share sound as well. Right. Okay, I'll just put it in PowerPoint. Can you all see that okay? Can you all see that okay?
Yes, I can.
Yep, good, excellent. Thank you. Right, the Road to Crufts, or how a dog can take over your life, literally. It's my journey on showing my dog, which is a bearded collie. The picture you can see there is of, it's called a Potterdale Classic of Moonhill. It's the 1989 Crufts winner, and no bearded collie, or beardies we affectionately call them, has won it since then, which is a shame really, because there are some cracking dogs out there. So why did I do it? Well, we'd recently lost our previous bearded collie, Mozart, while we were on holiday in Italy, and which was quite a wrench for us. As you know, dogs become part of the family, and the house was empty. He was always bouncing around and full of fun and play. And our rescue dog, Tuppence, as you see in the bottom picture there, she was always a quiet dog. I don't think she'd been taught how to play. I was not interested in toys or anything, but we knew that she was grieving as well, because she emptied Mozart's old toy box of toys into the garden and sat behind the toys looking at the back door waiting for him to come out to play with them. And if that's not a grieving dog, I don't know what is. So what do we want to do then? So I wanted another dog, and my wife said, "Oh, let's get another rescue dog." I said, "No, I don't want another rescue dog. I want a bearded collie and I want a puppy." And her heart sank. She said, "Well, you'll have to look after it." I said, "Yep, that's fine with me." So what do I do when looking for a new dog? And anybody should do this really. If you're looking for a thoroughbred dog, then you don't Google it. You don't Google for breeders, because you never know what you're going to get. You go to the Kennel Club. So at the Kennel Club, it provides all the information you need about all the different breeds, what to look for, any potential problems we might experience, the things to look out for, and also has a full list of breeders as well. A Kennel Club registered breeders, I have to emphasize. So you know that the dog you're going to get, of whatever breed you prefer, is going to be a pucker dog. It's not something out the back of a car on a motorway bridge or anything like that. And so I found a list of breeders for bearded collies, and I contacted one breeder, but she wasn't breeding at that time. So I then, so she put me in touch with another one who was breeding, and then I contacted her, and she bombarded me with questions about why I wanted a dog and why I particularly wanted a bearded collie. Have I had dogs before? Had I had a bearded collie before? Do I know what it's like to look after a dog? So they wanted to make sure that from their perspective, that any puppies that they sell on to the likes of myself are going to good homes, and that's really, really important. We obviously had some questions ourselves, but that and she was able to answer them quite easily without any problems at all. So one thing you must do when you're going to see a puppy is obviously go and see it, and see it probably twice if you can, Make sure that you see the mother in attendance with the dogs, that the environment they're in is a good quality and clean environment. And if they've got a picture of the father as well, then if you can have that, see that, and also what the heritage of the dogs are. So we had to get our dog from Grimsby, so we went up to Grimsby twice from where we were. So it's a two-plus hour drive up there and back again. And then when we collected our dog, we had all our gear, but unfortunately he was sick all the way home, which was not terribly good. And but he soon grew out of travel sickness. So when you get your dog home, obviously you've got to teach them to play, and play is an important part of their development and also mental stimulation. And we allowed him a few days to settle in before we actually started doing the training side of things as well. With regards to house training, for example, I mean, when they've eaten, in the garden. When they've woken up from a sleep, in the garden. When you finish playing with them, in the garden. All those sort of simple things. And actually, he was very good from a house training point of view. We had a couple of accidents, which was brilliant. So we saw the dogs, and we went up and collected them and came home. So training. So training was important. We did struggle to find training obedience classes to start with, but we finally got there in the end. But we just went for one session of classes because of my previous experience with dogs. I just need a bit of a refresher, and he's been really good. Cleanliness of dogs, they don't like being dirty. But after a few months of having him, we got a call from the breeder and said that would we like to show Huxley? And I said, well, why? Because she had kept one of the litter back, and she had been showing her dog and had been winning classes at various shows. So I then just had a few questions for her about whether we should show or not, and then decided we'd have a go at it. But before we made a full commitment to it, we went to the Manchester Dog Show where she was showing her dog. It was a bitch, and so she could assess him and see whether he was up to the job really. So, cut a long story short, yes, he was up for the job. In fact, there was one person there who walked past him and said, "Oh, he looks a bit special, doesn't he?" So other people obviously were impressed with him. She then took me around the stalls. Well, this is the equipment you need to buy: so grooming table, brushes, scissors, combs, a whole variety of stuff. And I ended up spending a fortune when I came out of there. The grooming side of things, because when you go to a show, you don't just turn up and show the dog. There's a lot of hours you have to spend grooming a dog. It's not just a beauty parade. It's quite important. The grooming is healthy for the dog to be well groomed, and also allows the air to get to the skin too, especially with a long-haired dog like Huxley. It also helps you to build a bond with your dog, and it also keeps the coat clean, because one of the things with long-haired dogs, they can get matted, and it can end up be like wearing a carpet, and all the muck and the dirt gets in there. It can irritate the skin, and is really not terribly healthy for the dog. But this is some of the equipment that I use when I'm grooming him. So to groom a dog, or certainly a dog like Huxley, requires a whole lot of equipment. There's the bristle brushes there, which I talked about. And there's the 2 wire brushes. The narrow one is what I use when I'm in the ring with Huxley to brush him. And the reason we use the wire brushes is because it prevents his coat from being static and becoming flyaway hair. And you ladies might know about that, I don't. And you have those 2 wire ones there for those really difficult knots that get out. And there's another brush there which sometimes is a good one to use. Combs. There's a large comb which has got 2 teeth sizes. You start with the big teeth going through the coat, following with the smaller teeth, and then that real fine tooth comb is the one that goes to do around his nose and around his mouth to really thin it out, so it's nice. That vicious looking thing here, this one here, that is where you got if you have some really nasty little knots, you don't want to cut them out. So what you do with the scissors, so you end up with a big gap there, you then use that pointy plastic end to get into the knot, and then drag the blade across the knot, and it opens the knot up and makes it easier. There's the rake comb there,
which helps with getting any major tangles out. The spindles on that comb actually turn so they don't lock on and hurt the dog. Scissors for cutting the hair around those sensitive areas so you don't have to worry about trying to comb things out. So you are allowed to trim if you look a bit around his rear end and things like that. Nail clippers, got toothbrush, and this little thing here, this rather nasty looking thing, is in fact a tooth scraper to get the plaque off his teeth. But if you keep his teeth cleaned regularly, it's not so bad. And obviously tweezers to get hair out of his ears, because he mustn't have too much hair in his ears. And then when you're grooming him, this is what we use. We spray this on him to start with, and that helps to glide the combs and brushes through. And also with this one as well, it depends on what his coat's like as to which one we use. And then finally, to help with sometimes if he hasn't had a bath for a couple of weeks, his hair can get a bit really sort of bulk out, as it were, after he's had a brush. And this is used, it's like an anti-static spray, and you spray that on, give a light coating with a brush, and it all settles down quite nicely. So as you see, quite a bit of gear, and so that's where we are with that, and that's what it takes to get a dog ready for a show.
So as you can see, there's a lot of kit there, and a lot of brushes for the different things. The actual grooming itself, this is after Huxley's had a bath, but don't laugh, but you have to get the right shampoo and the conditioner. I now know what you ladies go through. The key thing, it mustn't change the texture of the coat. But you want the coat to look the best it possibly can. So here's what we go through with the grooming.
And when we start grooming the dog, we start with the head going backwards, down towards the back. Helps to make them nice and comfortable and relaxed, nice and gentle, and they quite like that. And coming around to the back, I'll take my second brush. I have two brushes to do this to make life a whole lot easier. And coming around the back, and what we do, we start with having a parting down the middle, just to part the hair down the middle. Looks like he's still a little bit wet in the neck there, but that's fine, because he's had his bath and shower. Parting down the middle to open up the hair away from the skin, expose the skin, and then once we've got that down there, we can see all the way down to his top of his back legs, and then we start on one side. I usually start on the right and gradually work our way through it that way, and pick it out there.
So as you can see, it's quite a long process with grooming a dog, and this next video is a little bit about as he's finishing, really.
And now we're finishing him off. We've done all the grooming that we're going to do. We've got his big feet at the front, as you can see, they're coming on nicely, and almost there. So we're now just doing a tidy up, and again it helps to relax the dog. They feel comfortable. Any pain they may have experienced because of the knots, which sometimes difficult to get out, and we're just brushing his hair to get him to the show point, and to expose his eyes. And normally we've got some stuff we normally put on in a show. It's like a brill cream stroke gel, and it actually helps to hold this hair here on the side on his head in place, so you can see his face and his eyes. And a nice brush down the front, down the side, just open up the hair at the back, get it all nice so he has a nice parting down the back. I'm not going to go too mad on this occasion for now. So as you can see, it's got a nice parting coming down the back, nice down the middle. Let's let Huxley stand. Good boy, stay there. And then we just brush all that out. So you have a nice, not forgetting the tail, of course, that's just as important.
And so it goes on. I mean, the grooming normally takes about between 2.5 and 3 hours before he has his bath. And after he's had his bath, then it takes about a best part of an hour to get it back and nice again. Well, that's not all we have to do. There's training as well, and it's not obedience training; it's show training, and it's a different type of training. Again, it's the dog has to be engaged with you.
And now when we start.
So what I've got here. So first of all, I started in the garden because the breeder showed me what we needed to do. So and I looked up on YouTube as well how you show a dog. So started off in the garden. The idea is that the dog moves in a good way, so that you can see it striding out and keeping the back straight. Ideally, the tail wouldn't be wagging, but he's a happy dog, so which is fine. And then you've got to try and make the dog stand with feet together at the front, feet together at the back, and his tail's nicely down. And then once you've got a handle on it in the garden, you need to go out into some space which is going to be sort of show ring size, really. So we went out onto a field near our house, and as you can see, he's got a nice top line, which is the line of his back, nice and straight, but he needs to be moving a little bit quicker there, so I'm still learning the job, as you may see. It's good discipline for both the owner and the dog itself.
Right, stop.
And trying to make sure the dog is attentive to you at all times. So now you've done the training, it's taking them to shows. So we did a first fun show, which is at the Thornton College near Buckingham. It was just a school fete they had there, and we took them along, both Tuppence and Huxley, and they both came away with rosettes. They didn't win, but they got a placing, which was fine, and it gave us some experience of what it was like. Once we've done that, you then start going to some proper shows, and that's where the competition gets really quite fierce. If you want to qualify for crufts, you have to go for the shows that are cruft qualifying. As where if you win, if you get a win at one of those cruft qualifying shows, you automatically qualify for crufts. But if you get a second place, I think you need 3 second places to actually qualify for crufts. So it's really quite important. So you have to go to a number of shows. But we were fortunate that our first show, our dog, his kennel name is Thingamy-Bob, Son of a Star. He was only 10 months old, and we went to the Windsor Dog Show in 2019. I think it was July 2019, and no, it's May 2019. And he got best puppy dog in show for the breed. He missed out being the best puppy in a show because he competed against his sister, who's had more experience, and he lost against his sister. But it was a great experience, and it was really, really good fun. So from there on in, we then went to a number of other shows, which he did very well at. So as you can see with the rosettes that he's won there, we came first at East of England. He's got a Kennel Club Bronze Award. He was best in breed at Manchester Championship, and he got lots of thirds and seconds and highly commended. So really and truly, he was a champion dog from that point of view. So we were absolutely delighted with him. So now you've done all that, it's time to get ready for crufts. So what do we have to do to get ready for crufts? We saw the grooming side of it, and basically I have, apart from the bathing, leading up to crufts and also to the other shows, he has a full groom, 3 days, three consecutive days, which really gets his coat in tip-top condition, which is the key thing. So when we got to crufts, we had to be at the NEC at 7 o'clock in the morning. So it was a bit of a shock. I'm not good in the mornings, and the hotel we stayed at overnight, it was full of dogs, and it absolutely stank of dogs as well, which was quite funny, really. We had to keep Huxley clean because he'd been groomed, he'd been bathed, and we had to transport him in a crate like that, you see there, so that he didn't get his feet dirty on the ground. When you get there, you've got your own bay, you're allocated, you've got a number, a show number, and you get along to that, and that's where you prepare the dog for the show. One of the first things I do when I get there is to try to settle the dog down by making him have a walk around the ring to start with, so he's refamiliarizes himself with what he's got to do. And he started looking at me, and then we do a bit of actual running up and down as if the judge was watching us, just to get him into the swing of it. And then again, there's lots of grooming that needs to be done, and getting him finally prepared for when he goes in for his first class. Concentration is absolutely key. you've got to concentrate on the dog, but not only that, you've got to concentrate on the judge as well, because you've got to follow the judge's eyes and to see where he's looking, to make sure that you're not fiddling with the dog when the judge is looking at you and he just sees the dog. And this is the most important thing. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise at the shows, and it's trying to keep your dog not distracted by the things like that. But as you do more and more shows, the dog does get used to it. And obviously, when it's your turn and it's your class that are coming up, be at the ringside on time, and you'll get checked in. So showing the dog, I've mentioned about focus on the judge at all times. That's the judge there, and you'll see that as the dogs go around the ring, he's watching the dogs, and so you have to make sure that the dog is doing what it's supposed to do when the judge is looking at you. And this is why I couldn't attend last year's PEP. So everyone's sort of settling their dog down. There's a few people doing a bit of brushing and trying to keep the dog relaxed. So actually showing the dog, now this is where the judge is going to be looking at and examining your dog. So you get the dog prepared, and he's watching the other dog that he's just finished examining, and you make it to see if you like it still or not, and what his thoughts are. I'm behind him, getting Huxley all prepared, getting him standing correctly, make sure he hasn't got a hair out of place. And as you can see, some beautiful dogs there, absolutely beautiful dogs, and also well behaved as well. So the judge very much is looking at Huxley. Huxley's got a beautiful line there, standing absolutely perfectly, head up, tail down, couldn't be better. The judge is talking to me quite a bit. He's asking me how old he is. Yes, normally the judge would open the dog's mouth to check the bites and look to making sure that they're okay. But apparently, in the previous show, this particular judge had got bitten, so he was asking the owners to open the mouth for him so that he didn't get bitten again. Needless to say, that dog didn't hurt. Just checking the chest depth, bone structure. As you can see, it's part of the training I did with Huxley was actually doing this with him, and so he's quite used to it. And then you have to do the triangular run. As you can see, he's running very well. He's got a good stride, going straight up and down. So, and that's all there is to it. So we did the first show, I was in June 2019. As you saw, there were many shows and he was quite successful in a lot of them. There's constant training and grooming, there's hours and hours of grooming, hours of training as well. The Crufts was the last one before lockdown. So it was 2 weeks before lockdown. So it could have been a super spreader, that show, but and all the shows since then have been cancelled. We didn't win, but I think we were a League One team that got to the cup final and we put in a great performance. And we're still proud of him. And we achieved all of that in 10 months from never having shown a dog before to get to Crufts in 10 months. I was going to say there's a stop press because Crufts had been postponed from March to July the 18th. Unfortunately, it's literally on Friday, Crufts has been cancelled for this year for the first time since 1954 because of the third wave rising in Europe, because you have dogs and people come from all over the continent, and the ability to actually make it COVID safe has diminished quite a bit, and which is a shame really. And I was really looking forward to it, because what they had said was those who qualified for Crufts last year with the first place or the 3 second places at a Crufts qualifying show were automatically qualified for Crufts this year. So we were going to go, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. And next year's Crufts is when our district conference is on, and the following year I'll be district governor, so I won't have time to do it either. Let's say it's not just turning up at the show, it's all the preparation that goes before it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the road to Crufts. Any questions?
Thank you, Steve. Very impressive what you've achieved in such a short space of time, like you said. So excellent work.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions from members? And if we do, please, Richard.
Yes, Steve, that's incredibly impressive. As somebody who acquired 2 less than pure animals a year ago, just looking after them for half an hour, I find a challenge. So how you manage to do it for that, so many hours, I don't know. Question, are there any rules around the neutering of male dogs? I mean, I presume you don't anyway, because that's where the money is, but
yeah, well, no, you're not allowed to, unless there's a medical reason for it, in which case you then have to have a certificate explaining that.
Right. Okay.
So you're not penalised.
Okay. And the other question is, what is your solution to brown patches on the lawn?
Well, it depends. If it's a bitch, then if you get them spayed, it shouldn't be a problem after a little while.
Right.
And also, I found that we did have some brown patches with Huxley when he was growing up, because all the hormones were kicking in and that sort of thing. But this all seems to have settled down now, so we don't get them.
Right. Oh, well, there's hope then, is there? Right.
John.
Steve, I sympathise with you. We had a brown and white beardie for about 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
She came from a breeder at Daventry. You probably know her. But the work involved in grooming a beardie is just endless. It really is.
Yeah.
But great fun, lovely dogs. Yeah.
Yes, they are definitely. I mean, what I normally do is a big show groom, probably once a fortnight, and again it's about 2.5 to 3 hours, and then the bath as well, and then in between times it gets about half an hour grooming every day.
Jill was very good at it.
Okay, thank you very much, and I will pass on to Tim for a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful documentary, almost, Steve, on your road to Crufts. I love the use of technology jumping in. It was really great to see the background and the hard work that goes in. I've seen lots and lots of speakers, but I thought the video clips that you put in just absolutely brought the whole story to life. So that was really very, very good. And also it's a great insight into the journey from behind the scenes. I think we all see Crufts on television and the dogs at their absolute best, but it was a great insight to see how you managed to get Huxley to that pinnacle. I'd like on behalf of the Rotary members to thank you, and if we could all show our respects by doing some clapping. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. And you run an e-club, don't you, Steve? That's your. So I guess you've transitioned very well. Do you have any plans to meet physically at any point in terms of your club?
Yes, we've been meeting using Zoom since 2015, so this was just business as usual for us. However, we do tend to meet once every 5 or 6 weeks, face to face, just for a social, if nothing else. There might be the occasional bit of business, but usually it's socially we meet, so that you get that face-to-face time, which you know when you're on Zoom, as you all know, you can't all talk at once, and you can't have a sort of quiet conversation while something else is going on, and that sort of thing. So so being able to do that, I think, is very, very important. I know that there's some e-clubs like the Rotary E-Club of Innovation. If they get together once a year, then you know they're lucky. So from our point of view, getting together face to face is really important.
Oh yes, it's great to see these new ways of working, developing and innovation occurring in Rotary. I think that's what is needed.
Oh, definitely, yes.
You're leading the way. Okay.
I've been advocating the use of this technology pretty much since we started, to say, well, you could have your committee meetings or team meetings like this. So when we had the Beast from the East, if you were going to have a community committee meeting, then you couldn't possibly go out, but you could still have had the meeting and that sort of thing. So yes, so I think Rotary's jumped forward sort of almost 10 years in the space of a year, really.
Yeah, great.
I think for the better.
Thank you very much, Steve. And our next meet, if everybody could go ahead and unmute themselves so we can all say goodbye. Next meeting is there isn't one. It's Easter Monday bank holiday, so wish you all the very best for that, you and your families, and look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. So please do keep in touch. Let me know what you're up to. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you then. So good luck to you all. See you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.
Steve.
Bye.
TJ.
Bye.
All right. Bye.